the Great Tribulation. Many people have wrongly taught that Great Tribulation is this or that. But what they fail to understand is actually the Great Tribulation is God's punishment on the people who actually refuse to obey His commandments. He warns the church that if you don't listen to the corrections, you will be put into the Great Tribulation. Because it's a chastisement. It's a tool of wrath that is being used, that the devil will orchestrate as a vessel of destruction. It's not, the Great Tribulation is not the punishment of the wicked of the earth. It's the wicked of the church, because judgment begins in the house of the Lord first. They get put into Great Tribulation who refuse to listen. Revelation chapter 13 verse 5 talks about the time of the Great Tribulation. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. So power is given for 42 months, which is 1,260 days, which is 1,203 score days. Revelation chapter 13 verse 7 says, And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. So this is when the beast is given power over the nations. It's the same portion of when the beast sacks Jerusalem. It gets power from Jerusalem for those 42 months. Written in the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 1 and 2. We see that 1,260 days, 42 months. It says, And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God and the altar and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. It is here we see that the beast is given power over all kindreds, nations, and languages for those 42 months, when the temple is sacked. And that's the same thing in Revelation chapter 13, verse 5. And this is also the same 42 months, which is 1,260 days, or 1,203 score days, that's mentioned in the book of Revelation, chapter 11. In verse 3 it says, And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,203 score days clothed in sackcloth. It is at this time that there is a call for everybody to come, to be a part of the assembly, keeping the commandments of God, keeping the law, and having the testimony of Jesus Christ, the assembling together of the saints for the end, the remnant. And those will go into the wilderness to be protected by God for those 42 months. The beast will take over the city. There will be a swap. The beast comes into the city, and the woman goes out of the city for the 42 months. In which then the people who have not listened will have the plagues prophesied over them for 1,260 days, and they will be put into the Great Tribulation for those 1,260 days, which is 42 months. Revelation chapter 12 verse 6 talks about the woman going into the wilderness. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,203 score days. It is during this time in which the Great Tribulation is occurring, not just the world seeing wrath, but the Great Tribulation of the persecution of those who did not listen, including the time of Jacob's trouble. Revelation chapter 12 talks about the woman and keeping the commandments and the laws going into the wilderness. Revelation chapter 12 verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. But this woman is protected. She's protected in the wilderness. Revelation chapter 12 verse 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time from the face of the serpent. And this is when the plagues come over the earth for their disobedience. Those who don't keep the commandments of God, those who refuse to listen to the commandments and laws and obey them, and have the faith and testimony of Jesus Christ, they will not be protected from the plagues and the wrath, the curses and the plagues that are written in the book of Deuteronomy, that come upon anybody who does not keep the commandments, laws, and statutes as it's written in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. The curses come upon them. And those who do keep the blessings by keeping the commandments in the wilderness, they're going to receive the blessings of the Lord that is written in Deuteronomy, chapter 28. And the warning is given to all the churches. Revelation chapter 2, verse 20 through 22 says, Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed to idols. So what are they teaching? That it's okay to break the commandments and the laws. To defile yourself against the law. That's okay. That's what she's teaching. Verse 21 and 22. I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. The church is warned that they will be put into the great tribulation and put to death if they do not repent of not keeping the commandments. It's pretty clear. Revelation chapter 2, verse 23. And I will kill her children with death, and all the churches shall know that I am he which searcheth the reins and hearts, and I will give unto every one of you according to your works. According to your works, you're going to be judged. And people do not want to hear this. Their gospel that they preach and their theology they hold is false. They've been lied to, and they do not promote the proper doctrine of the apostles. The warning is to all the churches that if they do not obey this command to fall back in order to keep the law and the commandments and have the testimony of Jesus Christ, he's going to put you into great tribulation, and you will be put to death. And her children are those who follow her teachings. It's that simple. Jezebel, her children, are those who follow her teachings. That's her seed. That's her offspring. That's birthed them. Just like the apostles called us that they're little children. There's two churches without rebuke in the end times. And there's churches without rebuke in the book of Revelation. There's two of them, two lampstands that remain. The other five are removed. And those in the fold going on the Exodus out into the wilderness are not going to be put into great tribulation. They're in the wilderness safe. Revelation chapter 3 verse 10 talks about this. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. It says here, because you kept my word of patience. Well, what is the word of patience? And because you, during the time of temptation, escaped the temptation. What is temptation? It's temptation for you to break the law, right? Anytime a man is tempted, what is he tempted to do? Tempted to break the law. I'm tempted to steal. I'm tempted to commit fornication. I'm tempted to break the Sabbath. It's very simple. But what is the word of patience? Revelation chapter 14 verse 12 says what the word of patience is. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus Christ. The word of patience is the keeping of the commandments of God. And we see two churches, Philadelphia and Smyrna, both knowing who the synagogue of Satan is, and both of them keep the commandments. That's the remnant of Gentiles and Jews of the remnant fold that gathered together for the end on the Exodus, who both keep the commandments of God. The word of patience. We see that the woman keeps the word of patience. Revelation chapter 12, verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the faith and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So we see here, this woman keeps the commandments of God, which has the word of patience and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Well, who escapes the temptation then? Revelation chapter 12, verse 14. And the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished from a time and times, and half a time from the face of the serpent. So she escapes temptation of the serpent. It's pretty easy to figure out if you have the proper doctrine, proper theology. All these other people are telling you, oh, don't keep the law of Moses, don't keep the commandments, this is legalism. They're all false prophets and false teachers. They're going to have the plagues and the curses come upon them, and their names are going to be blotted out of the book of life. They won't be able to enter into the city on Christ's return. They won't be able to go to the tree of life. Yeah, read Revelation chapter 22, verse 14 and 15. It says, blessed are they who keep the commandments of God, for they will have right to the tree of life, and that they may enter into the gates. If you do not keep the commandments and the laws, you will not be able to enter in the gates. You're defiled. That's why it says people who are outside the gates are fornicators, whoremongers, sorcerers, murderers, all the above, the people that have defiled themselves against the law. It's pretty simple. When is this flight mentioned about the Great Tribulation? Well, let's look at the context here. Matthew chapter 24, verse 20 and 21 gives some context for the flight. It says, "But pray ye that your flight may not be in winter, neither on the Sabbath day." Okay, so we see a Sabbath as a commandment, right? And then it says here in Matthew chapter 24, verse 21, in the following verse, it says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be." So we see that it's clearly stating, immediately following about the flight, pray that it's not on the Sabbath, because you're keeping the commandments, right? And then it says the great tribulation, immediately, within the same context. That's the same thing Jezebel was told. It's the same exact thing. If she doesn't keep the commandments, she'll be put into great tribulation. It's very simple. Very simple. And those who refuse to come and listen to the correction, they will be put into great tribulation. It's that simple. Revelation chapter 2, verse 22, "Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds." And this is the warning to all the churches. This is warning to every single Christian. If you do not obey the commandment to come, to gather, and keep the commandments, under the banner for the end times, for those 1260 days, keeping the law and having the faith in Jesus Christ and going out into the wilderness, the plagues and the curses and that which is written about in Revelation chapter 22 about having your name blotted out of the book of life and the plagues added to you, all of those things are going to come upon you, and the Lord's going to put you to death through the great tribulation. So this is your command to repent now. And this is the prophecy of the great tribulation.